Hi, and welcome to this episode of Academic Writing Tips. I am Leigh Hall. I am a PhD and professor, and I have been writing in academia for about 17 years now. And today I'm going to talk to you about a great question that I had come in on how do you set up your writing space? So, thinking about your writing space, you want to develop regular writing habits, you want to be comfortable where you write, but people go about organizing their writing space in different ways. So, first of all, when you think about where you write, um, there's no one right way to do this, right? What works for you in terms of a writing space is not going to work necessarily for the next person, right? So you have to figure this out on your own. So what I've done is given you a series of questions here that you should think through when trying to figure out what your good, perfect writing space is going to be. So first of all, where is your space? Okay. I actually have an office in my house. I have a desk and I have my laptop on my desk, and pretty much that's where I write. Sometimes I do write in my office at the university, and that works fine too. But again, I'm at a desk, okay? And that's it. Those are the only two places where, by and large, I do any kind of journal academic writing, okay? Anything else, even my blog, I want to be sitting at my desk, right? So emails and that sort of thing can pretty much happen wherever. But anything that requires me to sit and be focused for an extended period of time, it happens at my desk, either at home or in my office at my university. So you have to think about that. Some people do not like to write in their house. I like to write where it's really quiet and I love to be like the only person around. Other people like to go to coffee shops, right? Or bookstores. They like to go sit or even a public library, right? They like to go sit in a space where there are other people around, okay? I don't like that. That doesn't work for me. I just don't want other people around me, even if they're quiet, like in a library, I don't want them there. So, and that sort of gets down to the third question here with silence or sound, right? Do you want to write in a space that is really, by and large, quiet? Or do you want to be someplace like a coffee shop where there is noise and activity? I cannot work with noise and activity going on. I don't like it. Some people thrive on that. And my version of a good writing space, quiet and isolated, it would drive them crazy. They wouldn't be able to get their work done, right? So you need to think about that, and you can play with it and see what works for you. Is a consistent space important, right? Do you need to always write in the same space, or have two, maybe three different places where you can write at? Obviously, if you like to write in public spaces, you could potentially have a handful that you rotate around that you might feed off of that do really well for you. I like to be in the same space, right? I like to be in my house, in my office, in my house, at my desk, right? And my office at the university is an acceptable replacement for that, but that's it. I don't want to be writing anywhere else. Clean versus messy. Okay, so again, this is a preference, I think. Right now, I'm sort of in between when I look at my desk of clean versus messy. I don't like it to be too messy, but I do have some things piled up around me. But again, these are all things that I am using in my writing projects and that I'm going to have to constantly be pulling out. So it works for me. But I want to get down to this last question here, romantic versus reality. I think that ties in well with clean versus messy. So you can go on Pinterest, right, and you can search for writing spaces, and you can find like these gorgeous, very romantic, very relaxing looking writing spaces, and you might use those. That might really inspire how you do your space. For some people, that's great. But for me, that's not reality. My reality is never going to look like this perfect romantic Pinterest page where I do my writing. It's always going to have tissues on the desk and an empty Coke bottle and different notebooks piled up and cords everywhere and a candle and a lighter and photos of my pets and stuff sitting around and books stacked up. And it's kind of it's not a total mess, but it's not really clean and organized. So think about that, right? Like there are lots of pictures out there that send you messages about like, hey, here's how your writing space could look, or here's how it should look, or wouldn't you love it if it looked like this? And maybe that would work for you. But for most people, I think that's probably just a romantic notion and not really a reality, but it's worth taking a look at. And then I'm going to jump up to the question above that. What material should you have on hand, right? That's really important for your writing space. Obviously, right, you've got like your laptop and, maybe you have a tablet or your cell phone or whatever on hand. But I also have notebooks. I have 3-ring spiral bound notebooks because I like to take notes in them, right? I like to work my ideas out on paper. And I have, right, each paper that I'm writing has its own notebook. Each project has its own notebook with its own notes in it. That's something special for me. It's something that works well for me. You have to think about what materials are specific for you, and then how do you want to organize those on your desk in a way that is pleasing to you, okay? So those are my thoughts on what it means to set up a good writing space. Those are things that I think you should consider in setting up your writing space. It's critical that you be happy and that your space be functional, because you want it to be a place that you want to go to that's conducive to getting your writing done. All right, so if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel, and also you can find me online where I talk about issues of teaching in higher education, leahall.wordpress.com. And finally, please talk in the notes. Please leave comments about your writing space, what it looks like, things that you struggle with, or feel free to share a picture of what your writing space looks like, and let's talk about it.